Hello and welcome my friends to my YouTube channel, philippospan. Weekly tips and tricks on how to work with Microsoft Office applications. Today's video will be about Microsoft PowerPoint.
How to compare and combine two Microsoft PowerPoint presentations. There comes a time where we might send a copy of a PowerPoint presentation which needs to be reviewed by our colleagues. We then need to collect the changes and comments that were made by them. This whole procedure is quite simple, where we can just use the compare and combine feature that is available in Microsoft PowerPoint. We are just comparing and merging two different versions of a Microsoft PowerPoint file. Make sure though that we should create a copy of our presentation before we send it to people for reviewing. By saving the original PowerPoint presentation, we will have something to compare the changes that the other people have made. As mentioned, I have created a copy of the original presentation and I have opened the one that has been reviewed from my colleagues and which I want to compare with the original one. I must select the Review tab of the ribbon and locate the area named Compare. There I select the command Compare, where we can compare and combine another presentation with our current presentation. Once the command is selected, the Choose File to Merge with Current Presentation dialog box appears. In this dialog box, we must navigate to find and select the presentation that we are looking for to compare and to combine. Once located, we select it and press the Merge button located at the bottom right corner of the Choose File to Merge with Current Presentation dialog box. Once selected, the Revision Task pane appears at the right of our presentation. At the right, the Revisions Task pane is separated into two different tabs, the Slides tab and the Details tab. In the Details tab, when we hover over the first change, a pop-up dialog box will appear mentioning the changes that were made in the actual slide. If we select the Slides tab, we will see what the slide was originally, and in the current slide of the presentation, we will see the change that was made. If we hover over a change in the Revisions tab, we will be prompted to click to accept all changes by this reviewer that appears in a pop-up window. And if we do agree, we just activate the checkbox at the left. If we select the Details tab on the Revisions tab, the changes will appear in there. A pop-up window will appear in the actual slide where we can activate the checkboxes next to the changes. If we activate them, we will see the actual change in the slide. And if we deactivate it, it will return to its previous state. I am just activating and deactivating the different changes that were made in the presentation so we can have a glimpse on how it works. If we hover over a change in the Revisions tab, we will be prompted to click to accept all changes by this reviewer that appears in a pop-up window. And if we do agree, we just activate the checkboxes at the left. The same procedure we follow for the changes that were made on other slides. The first checkbox in the pop-up window displays all the changes. And if we select the changes beneath it, One by one, it displays only the actual changes. In the Revisions task pane in the Slides tab, we have a thumbnail preview of all the changes, and in the Details tab, as the word describes it, we have a detailed list of all the changes that were made. When we scroll down in the slides of the presentation and no changes were made, in the Revisions task pane we are notified that no changes to this slide. The next set of changes are on slide number. We can see the actual changes that were made in the presentation, and we can also see what was not changed on it. Whoever has reviewed the changes, their names will be displayed, so we will note what was changed in the presentation and from whom. Once we have reviewed and accepted or rejected the different changes made in the presentation, we just click on the End Review button to end the presentation review, applying the current, accept, and reject decisions. It is up to us to agree or to disagree with the changes made. Once we have finished reviewing on the Review ribbon that has appeared at the far right, we either select the Accept or Reject buttons so we can agree or disagree with the changes made. We can always use the Previous or Next buttons to move along the revisions, and we can also notice the reviewing pane that is activated.
Thank you for watching. If you liked what you saw in this video, go ahead and subscribe to my YouTube channel. If you have any questions or suggestions, head down to the comment section and let me know.
Be wise and subscribe.